So I want to start this video out saying real quick, this video was recorded probably about a week ago. I said some really good things in here that I didn't want to lose some information that I really searched for, but this was recorded pre-merger, pre-us knowing everything about the merger. So while I'm talking about everything to do with WB and the future of NRS, just remember, keep the merger in the back of your head, but I'll let past Toot take over now. So I wanted to go over some very interesting numbers with you guys today when it comes to Mortal Kombat X's sales to Mortal Kombat 11's and how I think Mortal Kombat 11 won't reach the heights that Mortal Kombat X did, and again, the reasons behind that. So I hope you guys stick around for it. What's up, everybody? My name is Toot and welcome back to the channel, and I think this is a really interesting video. We're going to go over the numbers in sales for MK11 and MKX based on what I could find for the first year, first a little over a year, 2 years, and now 4 years for MK11, or MKX, sorry. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So I want to start with the most interesting one, and that is Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 has sold at this point probably more, but by October of 2020, it had sold over 8 million copies, which is really, really good. And from what I can gather based on the sales of another game, and keep in mind, this is from Wikipedia, so it might not be entirely accurate, but it's really the only numbers I could find. Kingdom Hearts 3, which Kingdom Hearts 3, Mortal Kombat 11 surpassed the sales of Kingdom Hearts 3 by June of 2019. By June of 2019, Kingdom Hearts 3 had sold around 6 million copies. So Mortal Kombat 11 had sold around 6 million copies from April to June, which is actually incredible and is technically better than Mortal Kombat X in a shorter amount of time. Now, the interesting thing is when we get to MKX. MKX released and it sold around 5 million copies from its release date until November of 2015. Now, that's pretty decent, not as good as Mortal Kombat 11, but here's the interesting part. Mortal Kombat X went on from 2015 to 2019, right before Mortal Kombat 11's release, to sell over 11 million copies, which is fucking insane. And that is a damn good number that every developer wants to see when it comes to sales. Now, the interesting thing with that is Mortal Kombat 11 sales in 2 years, a little over a year, sorry, is in October, and that is 8 million copies. Now, if you look at the numbers there, from April of 2019 to October of 2020, Mortal Kombat, if these numbers are entirely correct, and Mortal Kombat 11 sold around 5 to 6 million copies from April to June of 2019, Mortal Kombat 11 had only sold around another 1.2 to 2 million more copies from that point in time until, 2020, and that's a little over a year. Now, Mortal Kombat X in this time, I couldn't find numbers for that, but for the game to have reached 11 million copies in 2 years, I have to say that number is probably around a little bit higher, maybe around 9 million to 8.5 million that they sold, and probably around the same time, if not a little bit shorter. Now, why is that? The thing about MKX, and I can tell you from personal experience, it is an exciting game. It's fun to watch, and it's really electrifying, and that's for lack of a better word. I remember in 2015 when I was just a wee little lad, 14, 15 years old, never really cared too much about fighting games, never really got into them, but I played Mortal Kombat, started with Deadly Alliance, but I never got into them on another level. And Mortal Kombat X was that game for me and a lot of other people because I went on Twitch when it was getting its start, or at least when it started for me, and I found channels like Maximilian Dude, who was playing Mortal Kombat X, and True Talent, who at the time was playing Mortal Kombat X, and I saw this gameplay, and it was so exciting, it was so hype, it made me want to play it, it made me want to watch it and play it at the same time. It was just exciting to watch, and then you go from that to EVO, where you have Sonic Fox and Tekken Master on stage playing Aaron Black and Trimmer, and the whole crowd screaming, and they're in grand finals, and it's coming down to the last round of the last match, and it's just craziness. These characters are everywhere doing horseshit combos for 40%, doing half the character's life in one combo, and they're intricate, cool looking combos. It was exciting to watch. Whereas you get to Mortal Kombat 11 and it's a slower, clunkier game. It's not really exciting to watch. It's more projectile throwing, it's more backup, it's more jumping. And to be fair, slower fighting games are also extremely popular. Street Fighter is one of the most popular fighting game series in the world, and it is a slower fighting game in my personal opinion. And I think in most people's opinion, Street Fighter is a slower, more neutral, footsie-based, methodical fighting game. You have to think about what you're going to do. Whereas Mortal Kombat's always been known for its hype factor, I guess you'll say. It's crazy, it's everywhere. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that games like that can't be fun, but it has to be done right. And Mortal Kombat 11 has nothing along with that slower, methodical gameplay to make it more exciting. Street Fighters always had these crazy mechanics to go along with it. Even in Street Fighter V, which is arguably the weakest entry in the series, it still had some very interesting hype features that could turn a slower, more subjectively boring game into a hype game because of the V-trigger. You know, there were things to make it exciting. Mortal Kombat, on the other hand, only has very few things called, quotation marks, comeback factors, such as the crushing blow and the fatal blow. And once that happens once or twice in a set, which it's going to happen a lot more than once or twice in a set, it kind of gets tiring to watch, because you're watching these characters barely do anything, get a crushing blow or a fatal blow, and then the round's over. There's no hypeness to it. The combos are very, very stale, and there's not a lot of them. You're seeing the same combos over and over and over again. And I think that's a major part of it. A major part of these sales is the amount of people that keep playing MKX, because the amount of variety and the amount of crazy hype things that can happen just over and over again in so many different ways, compared to Mortal Kombat 11, where it's very, very, you know, basic, and you're seeing a lot of the same thing twice, 3, 4, 5, 8 times within just an hour and a half, 2 hours. And the main contributing factor to that, in my opinion, is content creators and streamers mostly, because streaming, you get the unedited content, and a lot of people this day and age love to watch streams to gather their own opinions on whether they're going to, and make their decision on whether they're going to buy a game or not. Now, whereas Mortal Kombat X had the viewers, and Mortal Kombat 11 has viewers, and it's had a big tournaments, bigger tournaments than Mortal Kombat X, but there, in my opinion, from what I've seen, has been less viewership for those tournaments compared to X, and the viewership that it does have falls off a lot quicker. And here's the thing, that's because Mortal Kombat X is a lot more fun to watch, and that's the main problem. If you were to try a tactic like this in not Mortal Kombat, but in early to mid 2000, it would have worked wonders. This easy to access, more casual fighting game with dumbed down mechanics to make it easier for people would have worked very well. It would have had people coming to the arcades and playing it because it was easier to play. But now we live in a day and age where a lot of people base their opinions off of not only what other people who are streaming or talking about the game say, but what they watch, the people they're watching. If they go into a stream of someone playing Mortal Kombat 11 and it's not fun to watch, they're not having a good time, they're not getting excited, there's nothing fun or different about it, and they're seeing the same things over again, they're more than likely going to decide not to buy the game. But that same person could go watch a stream for MKX and see all this crazy shit on the screen and this fast-paced gameplay with all of these different crazy damaging combos, and they're like, holy shit, that looks fun. Now, to a certain extent, I guess my opinion on this could be viewed as subjective, but the sales numbers really are the objective part about this conversation. I truly believe that Mortal Kombat 11 has not been generating a ton of sales after release or after that first few months to a year because the game is not exciting to watch. People are going on Twitch or YouTube and watching gameplay for it, trying to decide if they want to buy it while it's on sale, or trying to decide if they want to buy it just in general with no extra characters out, and it's really just not fun to watch. Nobody's enjoying it. Whereas, like I said, you can go watch MKX and it's still exciting to watch to this day. So I think that's why MKX is still generating sales and generated so many sales. I don't think in the same amount of time, with the way that the Mortal Kombat 11 sales have been going, I really don't think in the same amount of time as Mortal Kombat X has reached 11 million copies, which is around 4 years, I don't think MK11 will maybe even hit 10.5 million copies. I really think Mortal Kombat X is going to stay on top as far as that goes, and that's because it's such an exciting game to watch and to play. Honestly, I know it's unrealistic to say because it more than likely will happen, but it would not surprise me if Mortal Kombat 11 barely sold 10 million copies in the same amount of time. But that's for time to tell. I think Mortal Kombat X is going to stay the top dog when it comes to sales, and I really do hope the people who have to worry about those numbers at NRS see that. I hope they see the difference in numbers, how Mortal Kombat X just kept growing and growing and growing, and by this point it's probably well over 11 million, probably close to 12.5 million sales from 2019 to 2021. It's probably damn near that. So I really hope the guys at NRS are looking at these numbers and realizing that a tactic to make the game easier and more accessible by slowing it down and adding a bunch of cinematic comeback factors. I really do hope they realize that is not the way to get people playing these fighting games. I hope they look back at one of their best creations, which is Mortal Kombat X from a gameplay perspective, and actually realize that was it. That was the formula. Maybe not keep every single thing from that, but build on top of that. Mortal Kombat's always been a fighting game that likes to change it up completely from entry to entry, and that's why we had such a leap from Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat X. But even from 9 to X, they kept a lot of what made 9 so good and built on it. I would have loved to have seen them kept what made X so good, kept that into 11 and just built upon it. They don't need to completely rewrite the game every time they make a new game, in my personal opinion. I respect the fact that they want to change it up, but in my opinion, they changed it up way too much, and I do think the sales numbers show there. But again, I guess a lot of this can be subjective. The only part of this, in my opinion, that's really objective is the numbers. And I do think that goes along with the game not being very fun to watch. But again, everybody, most people can call most of this video subjective, except for when it comes to the numbers. And I guess the reasons for the numbers can be entirely subjective. Everybody can have their own opinion on that, but this is my subjective opinion when it comes to that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, though. I want you guys to let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Why do you think Mortal Kombat X has sold so well? I've gave my opinion on it, but why do you think it sold so well? And do you think Mortal Kombat 11 will actually hit those numbers in the same amount of time? Or do you think it's going to continue to sell a lot slower than Mortal Kombat X, at least from how it seems to me? Let me know that in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really do. My name is Toot. I've been your host, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.